All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Matt West with PowerChalk in Cary, North Carolina. And happy Wednesday to you. Again, it's another edition of PowerChalk and our great partner from USA Diving. And I believe I have Jason Baumann, the Director of Education, with us and coaching. Jason, are you there?
Hi there, I am. How are you?
I'm doing well. Jason, are you feeling any better? I understand you're a little under the weather, and hope that that's going away.
Yeah, I think so. Just trying to get back and rested up. Obviously, long trip in Hall down there in Greensboro, and throughout the Olympics, exciting times, and I think it finally all caught up with me today. So.
Well, we're glad to hear you feeling better. And Jason, maybe that's a good point for us to start today's broadcast. We want to welcome everybody that's joined us today. Jason and all the group from USA Diving, including Belinda Paul, their staff, as well as a very impressive host of not only talented national divers, but a lot of our Olympians were there. And so, Jason, why don't you give us a little bit of a capsule report of what was going on there, and then I'll kind of take it of what we talked about relative to PowerChalk and all the activity we saw on the pool deck. But tell us about Greensboro.
Well, you know, we started on August the 1st was the first day of our age group national championships. Had 3 days of that contest, which I think started us off very well. It was about 400 kids and coaches on the pool deck there. Was very successful. Made for some very long days, but things went well. And then moved directly into, on August 5th through the 10th, the Junior National Championships, which helped select some of our World Junior team. Picked our whole World Junior team, which will be in Australia October, and some really exciting contests there, some very close contests, and it was a battle for who was going to make those teams, as well as decided, several national champions, and really exciting event. And then a couple days in between, and we moved right into our AT&T National Championships and welcomed our Olympians back during that contest as well, and saw a number of new national champions. And it was just a very exciting event. They did a great job down there in Greensboro. It was nice to be there, and certainly it was nice to have you guys over and be able to take a look and kind of see really some of the our sport and how it kind of progresses at a meet situation like that. And I think it really was a nice, great way for us to tie in with also what was going on in the Olympics. Had great coverage from the local television station that they were out every day, and as well as leading into the Olympic coverage. So it was really an exciting time for us. Obviously, success in London and success here, looking forward to the next Olympics in 2016, and this kind of starts the road for a lot of those individuals as well. So it was a great event.
Well, Jason, not only thank you for that report, but obviously we were honored to be there. And for you folks on the other side of this, PowerChalk, again, is a partnership with USA Diving. We're the official motion analysis product, completely web-based, and it's a free program for you to use as a valued member of USA Diving's membership group. We know we're in that month of you renewing your membership, so again, this product goes right with it. And I tell you, Jason, it was remarkable to me walking around the building, not only the passion for the sport, the level of sophistication, the talent of the actual athletes. It was stunning to watch the athletes in person. Certainly television is a great way to watch them, but nothing like when you're there. I had the good fortune of getting down on the pool deck for a while, and it was just absolutely compelling. Equally compelling relative to our partnership were the amount of coaches that were using their tablets to deliver analysis literally on the pool deck, whether they were just using a video player or if they were using like a John Proctor or a Drew Johansson, who was there mostly as a spectator, but was using PowerChalk and the 10-second Telestrator on the pool deck. Jason, maybe from your side as being someone who knows a lot about diving and a lot about the critiquing, tell us where you start to see the technology go relative to the coaches and the athletes and even the parents taking advantage of this technology.
Well, I think what you're seeing now is that it's talks about a couple of different things. And one, it's obviously, I think kids learn different than they ever used to, and obviously there's multiple ways to learn, but more and more kids are visual learners, and that they need kind of different types of feedback, and one of those is really that's dramatically different and changed is the visual feedback of not just having somebody tell them that this is what they need to do, but also being able to show them. And really, if you bring them over and kind of do that side by side and be able to show them on video, but also then be able to put them in the right positions, you can see that that really enhances their learning process and speeding things up. And so much now is about having the ability to have instantaneous feedback and give it to them. I think that what you're going to see more and more of is, you know, the number of tablet and iPad and videos that everybody has access to now, that, you know, they've turned everything into a camera and a video camera, that it really helps them in that process. And so it's just way different than it ever used to be. It used to be a big process and hassle to get out the video camera to be able to watch yourself, you know, and going by the wayside now. That's so much easier. So it's a great tool that PowerChalk has, that you can just use their tablet as this Telestrator to be able to pull it up and do that. And so I think that you'll see more and more coaches kind of go in that route.
So folks on the other side, as you hear Jason talk about it, what I was bringing forward was the iPhone or the Apple version of our 10-second Telestrator. And although it's got a golfer in that box, I want you to kind of be thinking about the ability for you to use your tablet of any kind, or even your smartphone, as the video device as well as the actual instruction or coaching device. If you think about the time, and Jason and I spent a lot of time talking about this with dive coaches, the time from when the diver hits the water to coming out of the water to walking over to the coach for some sort of feedback or analysis, that time would be all you need to take the video with your tablet, as I show you here with the iPhone 10-second Telestrator, but this is actually a faceplate of a tablet, is the ability for you to load that into the 10-second Telestrator, and by the time the diver gets to you, you not only are able to allow that diver to see the video, but you can mark the video up, have the diver see that video markup, as well as hear your voice, and all of that can be captured in a brand new video that you could then upload into the cloud into your locker. So again, if you go to our apps tab at the top after you've signed up for your free account, you notice that we support in all of these particular fashions, but we're seeing increasingly, as Jason said, a move towards the tablet or the smartphone as being the place where you video the dive as well as give the analysis. But to do that, you know, really effectively, you also have to have a good backbone. So Jason, let's talk about that backbone and go directly into my locker, where I've got a whole host of videos that I've loaded. And for those of you on the other side of this, again, what you get with your free account is also access to a large volume of dives that we have been filming, from the Grand Prix down in Fort Lauderdale to us filming in Greensboro. And as we get those, we will load those up as public videos, and then you can use those alongside your diver. So if you had a 14 or 15-year-old young diver that had, and he was a boy, you're going to have a lot of the Olympians that are going to be in here that you can use as models to focus against. So why don't we go ahead and go right into it, Jason, and I'm going to take this first video here, and for you newcomers to us, you can go to the Telestrate button up here, or you can go to the little icon next to the Facebook icon and click on that, and it'll automatically load into the Telestrator that first video. And if you notice how quickly it loads, and this is from Greensboro, and Jason, what an incredible venue that was, and showplace for your sport.
Absolutely, they did a great job. It was, you know, it's a pleasure to be there. So
once again, we're in the ChalkTalk Telestrator, and if Jason was the diving coach and you were the parent or you were the diver, you would maybe have sent him this video, and then he's going to bring it in the Telestrator to critique it. Again, 3 ways to use it. Jason and I could be on the pool deck together. Jason could be back at his hotel room, as he spent a lot of time in Greensboro in the hotel in the evening. He could be recording that analysis and then save it and send it to the diver, or as what we are doing today, we would have the ability to do what's called PowerCasting, which is live screen sharing. So if you were a dive coach and you did not make the road trip to Greensboro, but you wanted to have an impact on your diver, the diver could literally send the video to you remotely. You could get live over the internet on the phone and give that live analysis without even being in the same zip code or even in the same country. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that markup, and then let's get Jason to take a look at this dive. I'm just literally going to grab the playhead, and Jason, as we go through, I'm just going to roll the mouse head, and you tell me. We'll take it through and we'll watch the dive in slow motion. And this was probably one of the first dives in the series of the Synchro event. So you've seen that dive, and we can roll it backward and forward for all of you. So Jason, before we bring in another dive to kind of pattern after, why don't you give the folks at home some feedback here?
Actually, this is obviously a synchronized back dive, and I think what you'll see is that from obviously where we're set up, it's a really good angle to look at this as far as the synchronization, because it appears that you are right behind those direct line of judges that are all set up to watch the synchro. And really, they're in pretty good shape here. What you're going to see as it goes through is that the diver closest to us actually ends up being slightly further away from the diving board than the diver on the other side. Just some little minute details that you may or may not pick up at the regular speed in the human eye, but just the way in which they touch. The one thing that actually stood out to me is that after they touch their toes, as you watch them come out there, the diver on the far side, I believe, actually brings his hands inside along his body, whereas the diver closest to us actually goes outside and lateral and is close. And it's just coming through that next little spot here, is that when they get from here to when they move to the next level to where they actually go to close, see the diver closest to us, his hands are out lateral. And I believe if we look in the background, the other diver actually brought his hands through the middle. It's kind of crazy. Something that if you watch a lot of diving, you see it pick up. You see his hands come in front of his body there. They're not quite together with the arms, and then obviously the little distance piece that's there.
So one of the questions I had, Jason, as I watched this dive, and again, folks, Jason, certainly the expert here, I'm just following along, but I've started to learn some things in these telecasts, which is also a testimony to the product that we have, is that I myself, who's not a dive coach nor a diver, former or present, has learned a lot from these sessions, and you as a dive coach can go online and kind of go to school, if you will, on some of the other dive coaches that are using this. The distance from the board that you talked about, that now obviously is very present to the naked eye, or even to my eye, relative to where these divers are entering the water. How much do judges, how much of a point off, as it were, is that in the score?
Well, really, and it's kind of interesting as far as in the synchronized scoring is that all of their movements from the starting position to the approach and takeoff to their flight to angle of entry to when the coordinated timings of their movements, all of those can be deductions of anywhere from up to a half point to 2 points at each of the individual judges' discretion. So, what you're looking at here is that, that small movement of the arms, if they caught that could be a half point to, as well as this, while these guys are clearly off a little bit in the distance, it may be a half point, maybe a point, depends on each judge, but when you start adding those components up, you end up getting the score may change pretty significantly. That's why you see some variation in the synchronized scores, is that, to me, the distance is actually probably a bigger deduction, because it affects a lot of the other components. To some extent, it actually allows you to be able to see some of those other deductions that probably, if they were right in the same distance, I couldn't have seen the other diver's arms, especially from where this angle is. So it's probably a half point to a point. It just really depends. I'd say it's probably got synchronized scores of 7.5 to 8, somewhere in that range, which is probably very different than the execution scores they got, because both dives were done actually pretty well. Probably got 8, 8.5 in the execution scores.
So let me go ahead and try to get these to a point, and what I may have done is I may have chosen the same dive twice. Let's try this one here. And as you see, folks, nope, that's not the one. I apologize for that. I've got one more here. Here it is. This will be the one that we can use as a comparable with this first dive. And if you see, again, you folks at home, how easy it is for me to go out and do a search. If I can just drag the playhead of this dive here, and maybe, Jason, we can go ahead and back the other dive up, and let's see where they are and how they compare. Perhaps if you'd prefer, do I take them from the actual departure of the board? Would that be a good natural send-off point for the comparison?
That's probably the easiest way to actually compare them, is if you sync them up when they're leaving the diving board. Is usually the best way to go.
So let's go ahead and go to this lock button. As if you notice how quickly and easily I was able to do that, the lock button that sits in between the two videos. Let's see how close I got it. I'll erase that arrow, and then I'll start rolling them forward. So Jason, what do you see as we walk through these in frame by frame?
You know, now see, and I think this gives us some good differences, is that you obviously see the distance in diver B, which is the one we were looking at before. On the team on diver A, you actually see that they're in the same distance. You actually notice the diver in the foreground that's closest to us is actually slightly higher than where the other diver is behind him. So this is one of those good questions of, you know, as a synchronized judge, which is more egregious, I guess, the distance problem or probably a height and timing issue. To be honest, it's much easier to notice the distance problem than it is this height and timing issue.
So let's see.
It just stands out a little bit more.
So as they come out, and you had again paid very close attention, which is now the video on the right-hand side of the screen about the difference in the arms. What are you seeing there from the divers on the left-hand side? Looks like their arms are doing the same.
Their arms are much more coordinated. The movements are the same.
So as we move through split screen, anything you're seeing here, again, I noticed originally just in my limited viewpoint was the difference in the distance of the board is very much more apparent to the naked eye, meaning me, who's not an expert, than to Jason as they get closer to entry. These guys here obviously much closer together. Where do you think they are at entry? Let's hear some analysis.
Well, and if you're looking at the guys on the left here, if you roll them back just a little bit, you actually see that the guy furthest from us in that picture, his hands actually touch the water before this other one goes in. But because their distance is a lot more similar, that's probably at regular speed not going to get noticed as much by your judges and will be a much smaller deduction than the distance we have on the other one. It's just a, you know, it's very, there are little nuances like that that you can get away with, I guess. Obviously, you're working to try and get two people that have very similar strength and speed and timing, and that they can do that, but also that their distance from the diving board is really a huge piece. And I like the angles of entry a little better on the divers on the left than I do on the divers on the right. They're just a little more arch in their back and not quite the same exactly.
Let's just back these up for just a minute and have our viewers know. And I'm only going to use this just because we have done it in the past. As you go in and use some of the tools, what I want you to be thinking about is that if you wanted to measure that arch in the back, I mean, actually really put some line to it, is you can literally draw a line from the feet to the hands and then come down to this curve button. And again, it's much more prevalent in other dives, but you're actually able to bend that line and shape it around the diver. So if you wanted to create almost a skeleton of that diver in comparison, when you go into some of the other dives, specifically when they're doing forward, you know, 2.5, where they're doing a lot of bending, and Jason, in your terminology, I'm not sure how you'd say it, but the arch in the back is pretty dramatic coming out as they try to get to vertical. But that can be very helpful in drawing a skeleton or a shape of the athlete. I'll go ahead and erase that, and as we again bring them both down to entry into the water, as Jason has, in his expert opinion, has said that the divers on the left would certainly probably get a better score than the ones on the right. But for you, the dive coaches, what this provides you with is really the ability to analyze and coach remotely, or use our tablets or even your laptop down on the pool deck So that proverbial TiVo situation, Jason, that has been historically the way that the diver receives the analysis, getting out of the pool, walking up to the screen and watching the replay, gets now a little bit more custom and a little bit more personal by being able to use not just PowerChalk, but obviously our 10-second Telestrator app. Anything else about the two dives here, Jason?
You know, I think it's, I don't have a whole lot else to say about them. I think that you can see that they're both pretty well done, but obviously you got one that's going to be a little bit higher execution than the other one, and it's, but it's a great opportunity to just be able to see that and kind of break down those little components that even watching on a TiVo or watching on that you don't get kind of that level of detail in the frames as well.
So that's how we, again, if you've been on these calls before, you know that that's how we introduce you to the Telestrator. It's very easy to use. You know, we're not too far away, Jason, from recording or publishing our latest iteration, which actually allows you to open up the Telestrator within your Facebook account directly, which I think will be terrific for people who are Facebook users. But let's close by also talking in terms of if there are any questions from any of the folks that are sitting on the broadcast today. If they're technical, we've got Ryan Magnuson of our PowerChalk staff here. He'll do his best to type back those answers to you while we're on the phone with you. If you have any questions about the dive itself or analyzing the dive or how Jason Baumann and all the talented people from USA Diving are seeing it used, we'd be glad to answer those questions for you. You also can go out to the USA Diving website and you can read a very, very favorable article that was published by Reuters and picked up by us while we were in Greensboro. Really some commentary from Drew Johansson about his use of the PowerChalk 10-second Telestrator on his iPad, literally on the pool deck in London, and the difference that made in his diver's ability to make corrections during the meet. And again, we're very grateful for Drew's compliments as well as his steadfast use of the product. Jason, any other closing remarks from the USA Diving front? I know we're coming up on your annual conference, which we're hopefully going to be delighted to see you guys again. But I saw a very, very passionate group of athletes and a growing group of athletes, and with the membership that you offer to the dive community, along with our PowerChalk product, I can't see how the sport of diving isn't on a huge upswing. But tell us what else is going on in the diving world.
You know, we're very excited, obviously, that we are at the point now where we've got a new fiscal year that's coming up for our membership, as far as that people could actually start renewing as of August 1st for their USA Diving memberships through 2013. Getting started on this next year and kind of looking at the next quadrennium and trying to get prepared, and had some great performances by some of our junior athletes that are the up-and-coming group here and next, and hopefully that we'll get them prepared for their 2014 experiences, so that we can kind of set the stage for where they want to be in 2016. And that's really what we're trying to do now, is just try and help out with getting people on the right page for that, prepared, you know, where we have to be in 2016. I think a lot of people saw the Olympics and saw the Russian diver win the Olympic medal on 3-meter, as well as David winning on platform, and really a lot of that preparation goes back to where he was 2 years out, and just trying to help people get better prepared for that. Got, you know, a lot of focus looking at the junior level divers and programs that way, and that's what our convention will feature is actually a discussion about junior diving and our new future and our going forward, and you know, how we make those next steps. So we're very excited, and it's a great time to be a part of USA Diving.
Well, and as you see, after hearing Jason's great comments about the membership value, we want to let you know that for what you get, I don't think there's a better membership value for you. And again, for absolutely free, you can go on and log on and get your free account, start using it. If you need additional information or help, we have a whole host of help videos and tutorials that you can use, or you can simply email us and call us, and we'd love to hear some feedback from you about these sessions. What do we need to do more of? But in the spirit of good partnership, we also want to let you know that, albeit that you have a free account waiting for you, if you're a dive coach and you want to have all the bells and whistles, we want to make sure that you know full well that we have what we call our Pro Pack, all the way down to selling all of the individual features and benefits on an a la carte basis. But the most important thing for you to know is that your promo code is USA Diving, all caps, and when you click go, all of these prices below the line would be reduced by 50% off, and that's courtesy of your great partner at USA Diving. And we can't thank you, Jason and Linda, enough for your partnership. But we saw in Greensboro a testimony of how much video analysis is playing a role in coaching. So you club coaches out there, go on and sign up for your free account and get started. I promise you that you'll, much like Drew Johansson did, you'll start to become an avid user of the technology, and hopefully your divers will improve as much as Drew's divers will and did, and end up going to the Olympics and winning medals. We hope that, again, what we're in the business of is raising the performance of every single athlete, in this case divers. So go on and sign up for your free account. Use USA Diving, all caps, as your promotional code, and you get 50% off. Jason, anything else before we sign off for today?
No, I just want to thank you for all of your hard work and coming over to Greensboro and participating in our event as well, and being a great partner and helping us go forward, because I think that's really where we are, is we're trying to continue to keep educating people, and I know that PowerChalk is a huge part of that and my plans going forward. So thanks again.
Well, Jason, it's our pleasure. It goes without saying, we appreciate the partnership. And again, for those of you who joined us today, we record all these sessions. We post them to YouTube, so if you want to watch it again, or if you can tell your friends, we certainly would appreciate you sending out an email to your friends and advocating that they either spend part of their Wednesday with us for these tutorials, or go on and watch all of the existing tutorials that we've taped. We've had Jason on, we've had Allison Brennan on, we've had Drew Johansson on. I think we're going to have Drew Johansson next week. We'll have John Proctor. Again, we're trying to bring the very best coaching to you, but it starts with you going up and signing up for your free account and start using the product. So with that, I want to thank Jason Baumann again. Jason, enjoy your time in Las Vegas. I know we'll see each other in Greensboro in a couple of weeks. And for all of you getting ready to renew your membership with USA Diving, get started with that. What a compelling sport to be a part of, and we want to wish you all the best. So from Cary, North Carolina, Matt West, and along with Jason Baumann, we've enjoyed this session. Ryan Magnuson and I are going to stay on just after we sign off from the video portion in case any of you have any technical questions. And with that, Jason, we'll talk soon.
Great. Thank you very much. Take care.